This report brought to you by American Implement, indebted to the past, committed to the future. In a moment, Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue and Kansas Governor Jeff Colyer.
Would you like to see something done about high gas prices and low unemployment? Western Place Energy in Campus, Kansas is doing something about it. They're a proud part of Growth Energy, America's ethanol supporters, and they employ 38 people and will be adding more following the expansion. Ethanol fuel not only reduces the cost of regular gasoline, it's good for the environment and keeps money right here in the United States while supporting local rural jobs. Western Plains Energy, doing something for the future.
S&S Trailer Sales, with 2 locations in Ness City, Kansas, is where everybody goes to buy or rent trailers. They feature the all-new, all-aluminum Mauer grain trailer with all of the electric options, the easy-to-load detached trailers, and a huge stock of header trailers. At the west location, you'll find bumper pulls, goosenecks, and oilfield specialty trailers, along with flat and utility beds for pickups. S&S Trailer Sales in Ness City and on the web, but remember, you do have to spell out the "and." Experience matters. That's why Conestoga Logistics prides itself in having over 40 years of transportation knowledge and skill to serve you and your customers. With a fleet of certified drivers and late model equipment, exceeding their customers' expectations is an everyday goal. Fast, courteous, and professional service with an outstanding safety record. That's what you get when you contact Conestoga Logistics at ConestogaEnergy.com.
The cost of everything has gone up dramatically over the last 75 years. With one exception: keeping electricity affordable.
Wheatland Electric, delivering energy for life, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Recently, USDA Secretary Sonny Perdue spent a few days in Kansas. We caught up with him and Kansas Governor Jeff Colyer after an event in Manhattan. We asked him when the last time it was he talked with EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt and when we're finally going to see some action on the renewable fuel standard.
Yeah, we talked last week, and I think the announcement will be out soon, where the President has instructed Administrator Pruitt to issue a rule calling for E15 year-round, the waiver that we know will grow the industry. The other thing he's doing is that we're going to make any waiver request ahead of the RVO so they can be reallocated throughout there, which is important in that way. Unfortunately, one issue that we didn't like as much, which had attach RINs to exports, we're going to mitigate any demand destruction as much as possible in that way, and I think the recovery of the waivers will help, but I think it's our responsibility now to get out and grow the E15 market. Well, you know, farmers don't need a lot of excuse to worry. That's part of who we are. But the fact is, I tell the President, he agrees with me, they're some of the most resilient, patriotic Americans that we have. And the hope and faith that farmers have and display each and every year, putting those seeds in the ground, birthing those calves every year, I don't see how they do it. These trade disruptions is just part of that. They have weather, pests, and everything else to comply. Markets, we know that farm income's down 50%, debt and cash flow are down, debt's up, cash flow's down, and the President appreciates that. He told me, he said, Sonny, when you're out there, you tell the farmers, I'm not going to let them bear the brunt of any of these trade disruptions. We recognize what they do, we recognize how important it is to it, and we're not going to expect them to be the only soldiers in this battle.
Yeah, he said to me as well, you know, that he's committed to growing the farm economy. That's a major part of our export market, and that he sees it as a long-term opportunity. He's very committed to it.
He was also asked about the future of institutions like K-State and things like NBAF, what that could mean.
Well, again, it'd be a great place to work for one thing, and many of your students going on to masters and PhDs in these kind of fields. It'll be a great opportunity. Also, it'll be a great workforce for the facility itself to have these young people who are serious scientists in training to come there and get good experience, feather their resume if they want to go on to private enterprise or some big salary at a big company there to do that. But it's a great experience. Most of our land grants, many of them are moving away from, are moving toward a robust grad school program, and that's good because that means that people are investing more in scientific research and discovery, and that's why the location of NBAF here right on the campus of K-State is so important.
Thank you.
Continues to be more challenges with finding credit. All indications are next in the June meeting of the Fed, they're going to raise interest rates. Farmers are concerned of not only lack of credit, but if there is, how to make those payments back.
Well, that's true. And anytime you have a tightening profit margin, in fact, maybe no profit margin at all, then lenders have to lend on cash flow. They can't just lend on assets and by regulation. And that's important. You show a profit. And the stress and anxiety that farmers have today, whether it be cattle or livestock or row crops, is tremendous. And that's why USDA needs to have guaranteed programs out there. I'm confident the Farm Bill will have an indexed higher loan limit for our producers, both on capital acquisition as well as operating loan. That wasn't done last in 2008, and we know what's happened to farm expenditures since 2008.
Governor Colyer, what's your take on what's the wheat condition? I mean, have you had a chance to talk to farmers as we're getting close to starting harvest in the South?
You know, we've been worrying about this since we made the drought declaration. You helped us out a lot with that, and it's really hit our crops pretty hard. We're looking at a crop that's going to be much lower and also with some lower prices for us. We have a lot of farmers that are going to be depending on that crop insurance this year, and we have some hopeful areas, and it's going to be spotty in some areas, but it's going to be a tough year.
The corn was smiling much better today after that 2-inch rain last night. I hope most of Kansas got it because where it did, it just looked much more refreshed. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Wolfter Construction and Irrigation has been around a long time, and a lot of folks have trusted them to design, build, and service all sizes of commercial and on-farm storage for grain and equipment. Wolfter is also known for their outstanding irrigation division, where they stock a complete selection of nozzles, regulators, drops, gear drives, electrical, and structure components. Looking for an electric motor? Wolfter has a large selection in single and 3-phase. Next time, reach out to the pros who have decades of experience at taking care of business the right way. Wolfter Construction and Irrigation.
Day and night till the job is done, Teeter is the one that works for you. Fields of green reaching toward the sun, Teeter is the one that works for you. Teeter is the one, Teeter is the one that works for you.
Teeter Irrigation, your source for water management.
From field to fuel pump, Conestoga means homegrown success. Ethanol fuel reduces dependence on foreign sources of oil while keeping millions of dollars in rural American communities. That keeps jobs and businesses in the United States, where they can benefit our schools, infrastructure, and families. Conestoga is more than a local business. Conestoga is a community partner.